Hi guys, and welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. First of all, apologies if anybody can hear my washing machine in the background. Reece says he can't hear it, so hopefully you can't hear it. Episode 26? 26. Yeah. To be fair, I do quite like doing that, because when we get to like 100 and something, it'll be quite cool.
I know. 100 more of these though, mate. Like 75 more.
Oh, we'll get there. We might end up having like a rebrand or something. But
we're going to talk about potentially what we spoke about the other day at the gym regarding the once you're in, like different
educational series, because we just chat shit on this one, don't we?
Yeah. So we're thinking of basically separating. We have the Once You're In podcast as usual, weekly, Thursday. We say 6 o'clock. We've so far managed to do 20 past 6, 7:30 and 7. So we've done well so far.
Today I was bang on time. And last week I would have been. First week was my fault, but it was a plan.
By an hour and a half. So I've got an hour and a half's worth
of time. I told you that I would be late that first week.
Yeah, well, anyway, and I'm not even here next week for Thursday, so I'm the one letting us down next week, so we're doing Wednesday. So anyway, we're doing the one time per week, Once You're In, where it's just me and Finn chatting, and then we're going to be thinking about doing like a more of an educational kind of series where we actually decide the topics. The duration would probably be 20 to 30 minutes. I think it'd be a time where we could put in some research prior and do some like, and just be geeks for 20 minutes, where we're not going to be chatting shit, and we'll probably still rip into each other. And it will be the same sort of approach, but we'll actually try and have some information regarding topics that we'll actually try and cover, because I think it would be good to kind of separate the once you're in, where you just want to listen to us have a chat on your steps, doing cardio, on your drive home from work, on your drive to the gym. I heard a few people say they listen to us on the way to the gym, which is a bit bizarre. I mean, listen to music, bro, but hey ho. If you listen to this on the way to the gym, hopefully you have a good session. That's what we'll say. So yeah, that might be coming. What's up?
Can you hear that?
Nah, it's fine, mate. Don't worry.
Oh, Shannon's holding it, so it's not shaking.
That's the work we're putting in behind the scenes.
That once you're in, we have Shannon holding the washing machine for better audio quality.
Yeah, unfortunately for the audio listeners and for the visual listeners, we're not actually seeing this, so it's a bit of it's disappointment. We want to see Shannon literally holding onto the washing machine for dear life. So yeah, basically, yeah. We would say if you guys have any topic ideas, but like I said, we're actually going to pick these ourselves. So this is something that will most likely be coming in whenever we kind of get a time frame where we can just schedule in. Like it could be where we just do it pre-workout on one of our training.
We said then Wednesdays would work, for this week. So we could do Thursday as the main one, Wednesday just as half an hour. Like you say, we'll just pick a topic and we'll just chat about it and try and make it a little bit more structured, because with this, obviously, it's like we have a chat, we answer some questions, it goes on a tangent. With that, we'll kind of have like a bit of a plan, and we'll both sort of say what we want to get through in it, basically.
So the main objective, basically, is for you not to ramble on for, if it's a 30-minute podcast, for you for like 25 minutes.
Rambles on me.
Mate, no chance. But Spotify question coming up now: who rambled more, Reece or Finn? I mean, you won the Paul Scholes debate.
100% to me. 100% to you. I mean, I'll win.
Oh, mate, your first answer got it spot on there. So good stuff. Right. Anyway, so update on yourself, mate. How's the last week been? It's now the 9th of December. Anything to report?
It was my mum's birthday.
Hey,
happy birthday, Penny. She loves it. She loves a good listen, to be fair, bless her.
Is she a fantastic
listener? Yeah.
Did she put us on our spot? Did she take a screenshot of a Spotify rap?
No, I don't think she has. I don't know if she uses Spotify.
Penny, you like all my photos on Instagram like 5 days later, which I do thank her. Like she clearly doesn't see my post.
On Instagram. My mum killed it on Instagram.
Yeah. She always supports Reece. I appreciate that. But where's the story tags? Come on, we need a photo of her go for a walk, saying steps with the boys.
She doesn't. I think she watches on YouTube. I don't know how often. Yeah, her mum's birthday, so that was nice. Went to see her. Otherwise, everything's going well. Training's in a good spot. Food's in a good spot.
Picked up the most amount of weight you've ever have from the floor on Saturday.
Yeah, I've done that every week though for the past so many weeks. That's what I should be doing. Like I know I put that because you were like, oh, this is the most I've ever pulled, and I was like about your lift, and I was like, oh yeah, same. Like obviously I know it's not like, I'm not saying my deadlift's impressive because it's not, but I was almost like, well, it should almost be every week, like in the position that I'm in, shouldn't it? Like, fair enough, you know, if you're in a contest prep and whatever, but so I don't really see that as a big deal. Obviously, I put it on I captioned it like all-time deadlift numbers, and I think underneath I put like as it should be, like every week at the minute. So yeah, that was good. Felt really good actually. It felt a lot tighter than it did the week before. Yeah, everything's going well. Got quite a good response from the front double that I posted yesterday. Fair few people.
That means everything. That means everything.
Good, and I was like, yes, finally some certification. I knew I should keep bodybuilding. I knew I shouldn't stop.
You're gonna give it up, and then you got like 4 comments, and you were like,
got a message saying looking big, bro, and I was like, yes. Thanks.
This is the reason why I do it.
Quit. Yeah, that was good.
Back. You sent him a voice note like, "Hey, brother, I gotta say thanks for this
my bodybuilding career." Thank you.
I was about to give it. I didn't even know if I was growing. I didn't even know if I was making progress at this point. And now I know.
But no, that was yeah. Everything's going well. To be fair, I don't think there's much more to report. Is there much else to report, Shannon? Still holding the washer, bless her.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. I can hear it, and like it sounds like you're doing this on like the runway of I'm not even sure, like an airport.
It does go for it. It proper goes for it. Sometimes it's like flies into the middle of the kitchen.
It sounds like you take off.
We look at it, we're like, ooh, like both shit ourselves, like as if it's gonna come and get us. But no,
it sounds like you know your PS4. Did you get a PS4 Slim or did you get like the base stock PS4? Because my PS4 used to sound like a jet. It literally was taking off. I'd like load Modern Warfare, you know, like during lockdown. And like my mum would wake up next to me. She'd not next to me. That's a bit weird. My mum would wake up in the next room. She'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
I knew you slept with your mum.
Fucking hell. That's a little bit. That's mate. Come on. That's for the educational series. That's
why Sanaya gets so weird about it. Like, can I not sleep in your bed? No. Me and my mum sleep in this bed. You go and sleep downstairs.
You know, right. Incest joke on Once You're in Your Own podcast. Fantastic. But yeah, update on myself. Everything's all good. Same sort of stuff. I'm now the strongest I've ever been, as I should be, on the stiff leg deadlift 230. I enjoyed that session. That was an enjoyable session. Liking pulling from the floor. My knees are absolutely battered, mate. I need to tell you, my right knee. Oh yeah. Like just ruined. I have basically been having like quite a good run on lower, and this base for some reason I don't pick up injuries at all, really, for like my upper body. And then my lower, I always pick up like a niggle, don't I? Like I'll have like a good 6-week block, and then I'll be like really strong. I say really strong. I'll be strong for me. And then I end up like my knees will kind of break down. And in reality, I'm convinced that my just lower body training is destined just to be pretty average, which is annoying. So the Cybex hack, I did 2 sets. The Cybex hack at Ultraflex Rotherham, mate, is by far lighter than the one that we were using, you know, at Future. Like I was 5 kilos up per side, reps up, and Sanaya was like the same. She was like 2.5 kilos per side because she used half the load. So like it was like literally the same kind of. It was almost like we knew, right, this is literally.
Sure, it just wasn't because you were in the Mecca. The environment just got me so hyped up.
I was so switched on. I just looked around and I was like, how can I not progress in this atmosphere? I mean, it's just such a good place. And then I was reading the inspirational quotes on the wall, and then there's photos of and then there's photos of bodybuilders, and there's that photo of that female who doesn't train. You know, we're like, why is she on the wall? And I just looked at her before the set, and I was like,
I want to look like that.
But for reference, for anybody who doesn't get it, there's basically bodybuilding photos, like proper old school and like black and white. And then there's just this photo of this girl on a beach who's like, looks like she's dieted for like 2 weeks. And it's like, why? Yeah, but it's like, you know, when you've got like Dorian Yates, and then you've got like Ronnie Coleman, and then you've got.
I bet she's like a well-known bikini athlete, and we're just like rinsing her.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just,
and it's also athlete ever to live. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But yeah, so Cybex hack ruined my knees. My right knee is absolutely battered. I jumped on the hammer strength leg press. I had to like double band it, which to be fair felt nice. I did a 27 repper with a 2-second pause in the hole. It was like a 3-minute set. I was going to do a Thorburn and take a screenshot of the time and put like such a hard set, challenging or whatever he used to put up or about bodybuilding and just wanting it. He did a few times where he put up a screenshot of the duration.
Got a vendetta against Thorburn.
Me? I love Thorburn. What a guy. I mean, who doesn't love Thorburn? It's 2021. I mean, That's what it is. 2022 soon. That's how it is. So yeah. So no, training's in a good spot other than my knee. I'm gonna get Aaron to have a look at it. So physio on Monday. But I'm gonna guess lower training probably next week will be a little bit meh just because of it. But everything else seems to be in a good spot. Pretty much lifetime strength. Competition's not too bad relative. I'm still in really good nick, but it's like I said to you the other day when we did some posing, like I'm really happy with how things are, but I have to kind of switch myself off because I am going to be getting softer and I know that. And it's where like I shouldn't really be still looking for signs of condition. And I think you're inclined to almost hold on to that for a decent while until you just like, right, I'm fat. Like, right, I'm soft.
Yeah, it is. I was looking at the exact same. Like for ages, you're basically just looking at how conditioned you are. You're looking for specific lines that you saw before and stuff like that. Like I was doing that for months after prep, and then now like there's no lines. I'm just a ball, and I don't care. Just eat everything. And apparently I'm on PED because I've got a fat face.
I will say the person who mentioned that asked me specifically not to tell Finn, and I did tell him the next day. I was like, I told him. Yeah, of course. I'm going to tell you anything like that.
Tell everything, don't we? Tell each other all our secrets.
Every single thing, guys.
Even you sleeping with your mum.
Oh God, that's awful. That's gonna be the thing that people will tag me in stories now. Or like a client will just drop me a message and just be like, "Hey mate."
People will just get in bed with their mum and tag you.
Yeah.
Reece, I do it too.
Secret to get fucking massive. That's what it is. Right. So that's the updates. Anything else to report, or are we getting into?
I'm just on my stories trying to find last week's because we didn't get through them all, did we? So I'm going to go back and then got quite a few good ones actually today.
Yeah, I need to answer Finley's question because I think I said to you, didn't I? He asked me 3. Or he asked me 2 and you won, and he didn't get back to him. And he messaged me afterwards. He listened to the podcast and he was like, cheers for that, mate. 3 questions asked, none answered.
Yeah, but we're just going in order. I'm literally just going in order of my questions. So if you don't get answered, you will get answered in a future episode. It's like we're trying to keep you listening. So if we haven't answered it in this episode, you have to listen to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
And so on and so forth. Yes.
Fair enough. Right. You going first, mate?
Can do. So I didn't get round to 7 last time. So this is from Pearson. Again, he loves asking questions. I don't think he asked one today, actually. He said, how would optimize your sleep? I think he means how would you optimize your sleep? Maybe he wasn't getting enough sleep. That's why he asked it a bit strangely. How would optimize your sleep?
How is his sleep?
Could be better. It's
could be. Duration or quality?
More so duration.
Okay.
Because he does everything right. He does everything right. He just sometimes doesn't get to bed on time, doesn't switch off early enough.
Yeah, that will literally be, if it's duration, the only thing we could really say is structure and like your routine. The number one, I think a lot of people, you could argue, and I think Finn, you can go into like the intricacies regarding hot shower pre-bed, let's say exposure to blue light, but I would just be recommending that the number one kind of basic necessity would just be literally having like a set bedtime, set routine. So the same time you kind of have your last meal, same time you switch your phone off, or your kind of routine of just chilling out and not being aroused by external kind of stimulus. So that's like not trying to play like a game of FIFA 20 minutes before bed where you're stressing yourself out and then hopping into bed. So the same sort of kind of cooling down and relaxing protocol, same bedtime, and then ideally the same wake up time. That's literally the one thing that I would say that should be your number one goal no matter what. And then you can look at the smaller kind of intricacies and then potentially supplementation. I feel like what people do is they literally go for supplementation. Then they think, oh, maybe I could do this. And they're thinking, well, they're going to bed one night at 1 a.m. The following night they're going to bed and getting into bed at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. And it's like, where's the consistency there? So I would just say firstly, it would be that routine of kind of switching off, going to bed, waking up.
Yeah, spot on. The way I try and explain it to clients is like, especially people who have like different shift patterns. Let's say like the earliest shift pattern is they have to be up at 5. Then I just say like, make it so that every day you're up at 5. Like, even if you don't have to be up at 5 because you're not at work, like just get into that routine. So if you have to be up at 5, then you know what time you need to be in bed. Let's say you need to be in bed at 9 to get at least probably 7.5 hours of actual sleep. And then you can work back from 9 in terms of when your last meal needs to be, in terms of when you need to get off your phone and so on, and just work your day backwards from that. But yeah, I think we've been down the sort of route of all the other optimization in terms of, like, say, hot shower, things like putting your socks on after you've been in the shower and things like that. We've done all that, I'm pretty sure. So we could, we'll do a sleep episode.
Yeah.
We'll get sleep expert Finn Kelly on, and I'll come on and I'll have these on, and I'll call myself Dr. Finn Kelly, sleep paralysis expert.
Sleep paralysis expert.
I'll wear a suit and I'll put on a funny accent. That's what we ought to do. We should, like, people are like, oh, can you keep getting people on? Can you get? And we'll just pretend we're getting people on, but it'll just be us dressed up in different outfits and wearing disguises.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That'd be good. Yeah, right. Do you reckon we've answered everything there? Anything else? No, that'd be good. Do you reckon that we need to go into? Right. So, Finley, I said to him I'd answer. So, I feel like we've asked questions like this before, but let's see, because opinions change and thought process also change. So, one exercise / training aspect you wish people would stop overemphasizing. So we could answer both, to be fair. So, like, if we say one exercise, I mean, I don't know how you can overemphasize an exercise. Like, are we going to just pick like a movement that just doesn't really make too much sense, but people do it? Like a flat barbell bench press, you could argue there's better alternatives, but it's still not a bad movement. There's not really a bad exercise in theory. Like, if you actually think about the vast majority, there's a few. Yeah,
there's a few. Like, I'd say something like a tricep kickback. Like, doesn't make sense in terms of the resistance and the strength profile. But there's not many that are like that, to be honest. You'd think there'd be more that you could properly, like, fuck up, but there's not actually that many. So I don't know. I'd say he said a training aspect that's over what? What did he say? What was the question? Training aspect or
that's overemphasized. Let's just over
people banding movements.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Like, you see it all the time, and they don't tend to know why they're banding it, and they just sort of think, oh, well, I'll just band it for the sake of banding it. And often they'll be banding something when the band is doing fuck all, and it's like you either need a stronger band, or you probably don't need to band that, or the band's doing way too much, or the band.
What about a banded lat pull down on a barbell? High incline. Just put banded so much.
Lat pull down.
Yeah, you've got two concentrics. You've got a concentric for your lats, and then you've got a concentric for your fucking anterior delts on the press. That's what it is. That's the best exercise going.
I'd say that.
Yeah.
There's loads of stuff, isn't there? But I'd say that probably one of the main ones. That's one of the main ones that you see and you're like,
why?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, like, bands they serve a wicked purpose when put in a good spot, and they make sense. But I think the problem is like people. I like the idea of almost utilizing a band as like a progression model and something that you can go on to from so it kind of extends the runway for an exercise or a kind of program design. But in reality, I think a lot of people just start off and think, I'm going to ban this, going to ban that. But, like, for example, on a leg extension, how many times have we stacked a leg extension, like, throughout our training career? I mean, anyone can stack a leg extension, but are you actually stacking it and doing it appropriately? And I feel like people will then be like, oh, I'm going to ban the leg extension because it's hard to get short. And they'll either have it at the latter end of the session, or they can't even stack a leg extension with good form in the first place. And it's like, well, do you really need to? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's obviously going to be merit at times, but I think a lot of people kind of rush the process with banding, and it makes, as you mentioned, no real sense. And it's where, like, the actual application of the band is different. And then one thing that drives me mental is when the band tension changes, like, every single week. And it's literally where, like, you just say, like, as long as the band stays consistent. Like, when a client will send me a video, hey mate, does the band look good here? I'll usually just look at it and say, how does it feel? It looks okay. Keep this consistent. But if it changes the following week, I'm like, mate, change the band around. I'm 4 reps up, then the following week, change the band around. And then it's like, no, you're not even progressing. You're literally just changing the profile of the exercise every time, and it's really hard to track. And then it's like 3 weeks where, have you really progressed? Probably not. So yeah, that would be my one. But yeah, I think banding is definitely a good answer. I think in general you could argue, I always just try and preach the basics. So you could argue anything. People overemphasize, like, the very small elements of training is massively overstated, when in reality it's literally a sense of just eating and training. Unfortunately, that's boring to a lot of people, but, like, I don't find it boring. I like it. I like the basics. But yeah, how it is. So yeah, your question, mate.
This is from Waboz. You know Waboz.
Oh, Waboz, yeah. Wobs.
Yeah,
Wobs.
I thought it was Wobs.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on wearing a belt for deadlift or stiff leg? I'm sure we've covered this.
Did he put a winky face afterwards?
No, he put thanks in one of them.
What
I don't know how you do it. One of them. It's like got like rosy cheeks and like a.
Always comes with just a bit of a fruity emoji afterwards.
He loves
it. It's
usually a wink face.
Yeah, it's usually a wink face. Like someone asked you a question on your stories the other day, like 2 weeks ago, didn't they? And I like put a winky face afterwards. I was like, "Was this for Bob's?" And you were like, "Of course it was," because he asked me a question like how to program upper lower wink. And I was like, "You cheeky boy, upper lower." Oh no. So yeah, I'm going to be honest with Bob's. I don't even know what he asked. The question.
Thoughts on wearing a belt for deadlift or stiff leg?
Only for deadlift or stiff leg, so not an RDL, not another hip hinge, just them two. I'm going to be very old school and just say, like, in my opinion, at least, I just think we have erectors for a reason. And like, if there's a reason why, so from an injury prevention, or let's say if we have a reoccurring issue, or there may be like a bracing issue or tightness issue, there could be benefit. But I would usually assess the reasons why you'd want to be utilizing a belt, and the vast majority it's because your bracing's pretty poor, or you started deadlifting or hip hinging with a belt and you've never really learned how to. I personally notice with all clients and myself, the vast majority, you can brace effectively and more efficiently without a belt. Sorry. So I would usually say we have erectors for a reason. I wouldn't hip hinge with a belt. I only really utilize a belt on like hack squats and squat variants. That's the only thing I would really utilize it for.
Yeah, I agree in regards to the bracing. Like, I don't think, if you think about it, your erectors, they're still going to get stimulated regardless. Like,
oh yeah,
I know what you mean in terms of like, they may get a little bit more, but I would argue that you're probably going to still get the same amount out of doing it with a belt and without a belt, but you're going to, I think it becomes easier to rely on the belt, which is then going to increase your risk of injury and has a knock-on effect negatively to all your other movements where you need to brace, which is most movements. So like,
can I say, oh, sorry, mate, I'm interrupting. Have you seen like the EMG studies or whatever it is, saying that apparently you get more activation? I've seen literally, I don't know if I've not read them myself, but I've heard people say that there's more erector activation when you wear a belt, which makes like, it doesn't really make much sense. I've heard that. So I'm not
ages ago, someone put a post about it.
I remember. I just read it and was like, what? Like, that's such a thing that's like studies are here, but internal feel and you would suggest
be a bit backward, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I don't know, I guess that's when sometimes you've got to look at actual application versus just studies. But generally, I would say if you can get better at deadlifting or RDLing or whatever it is without a belt, are you going to notice massive difference in terms of your posterior chain visually? Probably not. But I think the benefit of getting better at bracing without it is much more important than just the visual look. So I think that's the benefit of it. So I'd say if you don't use it as if you really don't have to. If you've used it for years and years and years and your deadlift's really good, let's say, and your back's really good, then fair play, keep doing what you're doing. But for most people, if you're learning to train and if you feel like you're just as good with or without, then just don't use it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That's pretty much spot on, mate. Yeah, no complaints there. Football question here, mate. We'll just quickly go through because all the female listeners have just clicked off. Going,
females, it's just Beth.
It's just Beth. Yeah, Beth's not a fan, mate. I walked in yesterday and she was listening to I literally finished my session.
Still Foden compilation.
No, mate. She was listening to bodybuilding and bollocks at 7:30 p.m. and I was like, I came in, I was like, I just can't get away from this life. I was like, I just want to get in. I want to have my post meal and just chill. And she's literally got Fuad laughing at the corner. I'm like, God, this house is so many bodybuilders.
That is one thing that I don't want to sound, I don't know. This doesn't sound like I'm being arrogant or anything. Since I've got the busier and busier I've got with coaching, the less and less bodybuilding content I consume.
I only listen to stuff on a training day, meal 1, meal 2, or before I train. After I train, you will never catch me listening to anything training wise or bodybuilding wise. It's either football
the only
or
time
game.
I ever do is if I'm actively searching for education now. So very rarely will I watch a YouTube video on training or someone. I much prefer just watching videos that are relaxing. Even when I'm eating, if I'm doing check-ins all morning and doing form feedback all day. Like when I'm eating, I want to be able to switch off for 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't remember the last training YouTube video or even like JP video that I watched. I said to you, I haven't been on JP's site for probably 4 or 5 months. I don't know how long. I don't feel like I don't get into the session and go, oh shit, I didn't watch JP's video. I can't train. I just train.
Right. I watch football highlights as my pre-workout meal.
I'm running around the gym, smashing the ball top bins. I forgot what to train.
Yeah. No, how am I going to be able to
trying to megs everyone, doing Maradonas down that green patch of grass at warehouse, trying to megs people. I forgot what I was supposed to be doing.
Meanwhile, I'm going in after watching Ian Valliere pull 7 plates, and I'm like, God, I'm so motivated now because I've seen Ian pull 7 plates. This 5-plate deadlift. Yeah, I'm going to be so much stronger now because I just want it like that bad because of that video.
I think it has a place, and I think in the past I really needed that because it was like, especially when I was PTing, like I'd finished PT.
You train with me. I don't know how you need any motivation. Just look at me.
I never train with you. You always train with Sinai. So I just need that, like...
That video you sent this morning, by the way, mate, is class.
I was going to put it on my story, but I thought you'd both be like, oh.
So no, I was going to share it. I was going to put live seeds.
But no, I feel like I used to need that. Like after I'd PT'd all morning, I needed to get psyched up to train. Whereas now, like because my job's less physically demanding, I can, when I get to the gym, I can switch it on easier than in the past, where I'd need that external sort of fuel, if you like, or that stimulus to get me ready to train. Now, like I'd much prefer to watch like a podcast or something that's not bodybuilding related, just something more relaxed. Yeah. It's nice to have that 5 minutes of just switching off. And to be fair, a lot of the time when I'm eating anyway.
How much food are you eating, mate? Don't lie. It's not 5 minutes. It's about fucking 25 minutes.
Depends how long it is. Yeah, usually, to be fair, my meals go down really well. I'd say about 10, 15 minutes max. And usually I'll be like going through client messages anyway. So it's like background noise.
Yeah. Meanwhile, mate, I'm still volumizing my cream of rice with like 4 kilos worth of water. And I'm like, oh yeah. To be fair, I haven't done that in ages. But during prep, it was like 30 grams cream of rice, 700 milliliters of water. Took 40 minutes to make in the microwave. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. I used to have to, I'm making a cream of rice, so I do check-ins in between it. It was awful. Nightmares. Right, so the actual question, we never actually got around to it. Top 4 and UCL predictions. I think everyone knows the top 4. Like top 4 is pretty... I can imagine most people are going to know the top 4.
So I think...
Doing them in order.
I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it?
Who's your prediction?
If we go in order, I'll go Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United.
Yeah. I think most people would agree.
I think those top 3 could obviously it's anybody's in it, really.
I personally don't think Chelsea are at all as good as City or Liverpool, but that's my opinion. I think they've had like a 3 to 4 month purple patch. Their top goal scorer is Reece James. Like, I just don't think that, like, if you just look at all their underlying metrics, I don't think they're impressive at all. I haven't watched Chelsea once and thought, wow, they're amazing. They're literally just a very solid team that don't concede many goals, which is good for a Premier League title. But when you have 2 teams like Liverpool and City, I don't think they'll kind of be at the races coming the end of the season. I think it'll be Liverpool, personally. Well, I think Chelsea won't be behind.
It wouldn't surprise.
I think they'll be like, yeah, they might bullshit their way to a title, but I just don't think when you have the playing quality that Liverpool and City have, I just don't think Chelsea will be there at the end of the season. But I like Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea are bad. I think the Champions League win and that like 3 to 4 month period people thought they're better than they actually are. And then they signed Lukaku. I mean, great player. They signed some good players and they've got a great squad. City and Chelsea have the best squad by an absolute mile in the Prem. I'd argue probably Chelsea have the best squad, if I'm being honest, because they don't really seem to have much of a weakness. Where Liverpool, I'd say, have the best starting 11, but their depth is definitely not as good as the other 2. And then Man United, I mean, at the start of the season, everyone was saying United were going to go for the title, but when you don't have a team that presses, no real kind of direction, system was pretty poor. I mean, I think your next like 11 games are really easy. So like in relation to where they were previously. So you'll probably pick up a fair few wins.
Were poor, but still like it was never, even now, those fixtures, obviously, we've got a new manager and everything, but I don't think the results would be as bad, but even at the start of the season, like we were never going to challenge for the title. Just because we finished second last year, everyone think we were better than we are. We're not. Like if you'd watched United play most games, you'd think like they're not great.
Yeah,
we shouldn't have finished second last year. It was just because everyone else was pretty shit.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then who's your prediction for the Champions League, mate? I genuinely think Liverpool are probably quite a good shout at Champions League. How we play, how we like go into Anfield. I think Liverpool will be up there. I think City will be really good. I think PSG, just based off the fact that they're PSG and they've got Messi, Mbappe and Neymar. I mean, I saw them in person and I didn't think they played at all well. City.
Are they bigger in person?
Yeah. Oh, mate. Mbappe was rapid in person. He was so much faster than I thought he would be. Messi was tiny. I was just looking at it.
Did you go up to us? Mbappe, you're so much faster in person than I thought you'd be.
No. Too busy with check-ins, mate. I had to bring my laptop into the ground. That's what it was.
Was that all right? Did you ask the steward? I think it'll be all right.
How bad the atmosphere was. I probably could have done check-ins at the Etihad.
Yeah, they would have never known.
Yeah, no one would have ever known. They would have heard like the three chants of Sergio. I asked Josh, I was like, why are you chanting Sergio? And he's like, Aguero. And I'm like, I doesn't even play for you guys anymore. Yeah. Like, it was really weird. That was their only. They chanted Sergio like 10 times, and I was like, why?
We were singing about Ollie all last night.
Really?
Yeah. Right. Let's get past this question.
Okay.
So, what winner of the Champions League? I'm just gonna say, just because I want to be a bit different and I don't want to pick an English team, I'll say, and I don't want to pick PSG. I'll say Bayern.
Fair enough. Yeah. Sound right.
What, you're saying Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll say Liverpool or City.
No, you got to pick one.
I'm going to say City. I'm going to say Liverpool for the Prem.
Okay. My question. Yeah?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
This is from Clayton Lifts. Hope you're good, mate. What's more important to you guys, gym kit or gym atmosphere? We've had this question before as well.
Yeah, Aaron asked this question. Like, if we could train at any one, we said we do like a month at one place and then a month at the other. I think you can make. I'll just answer it real quick and we'll move on. You can make your atmosphere really anywhere. Like, we trained in a shed for 4 months this year, and they were some of the most enjoyable parts of our training because we could just put our music on, get switched on, shout, not have to worry about other people in the gym. Gym atmosphere is one thing, but you can still get switched on for a set, whether it's literally you on your own, like, or you in a Ultraflex Rotherham, the Mecca in the UK. You just can't beat that atmosphere. So basically anywhere other than Ultraflex, I'd be saying, you can make your own atmosphere, but you just can't copy Ultraflex. I mean, have Cuba shouting. Right, I'm going on a tangent. Anyway, you can make your own atmosphere. The equipment's good, but again, yeah. Wow.
Oh, wow.
The equipment. Look around. Like, what I do is I take a full-on photo, like a 360 photo. I just look at it before a set, and it's Ultraflex Rotherham, and I'm like seeing everyone, and I'm like, yes. I ask if someone can live stream Ultraflex Rotherham to me or like FaceTime me, and I'm like, here we go. I'm there. I'm still there. But no, in all seriousness, I like kit, but I think, again, massively overrated. If you said to me right now, right, Reece, you have to train in a place like my shed with me and Finn for the rest of my training career, I'd be like, yeah, sound, crack on. Like, if I was on my own, I'd be like, yeah, sound, crack on. Kit is one of those, like, if you were to say I can only use a barbell and dumbbells for the next 5 years, I'd be like, oh, that's a bit shit. I'm not going to enjoy a barbell squat, but I'd still be able to get switched on and get after it. So I don't really, I find these questions like, it's like, fortunately we don't have to answer, but I don't really mind either one. I'd almost say, let me just see how it is. And eventually I'd be like, okay, this is a bit boring. I prefer the other one. Or like, you know what I mean? I'd want to switch it, but I'd still be able to do what I need to do.
I think a good answer is you can create your own atmosphere, but you can't create good kit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's also, you could say, well, what kit are you saying is shit kit? Because if it is literally just bands, then I'd much rather have good kit. Like, so, yeah, I think that's a decent way to answer it. You can create a decent atmosphere by putting your headphones on and just switching off from everyone else. Mm-hmm. But you can't, even if the gym's got the best atmosphere ever, if it's literally just got a barbell and some dumbbells, you can't make that any better. You can't change that to make it an amazing piece of equipment.
Yeah, true. Mate, you can band it. You can just like triple band it and make it the best pro.
Just band the triple back, band the barbell back squat, triple reverse band it, or the Smith.
Yeah, like the guy at Premier. There's a guy at Premier, lovely lad. No hate if you ever listen to this. This is gonna be sent to everybody. But he like triple reverse bands a barbell Smith machine squat with like 3 green bands, and like I just look at it.
I think it is 2, to be fair.
Is it? Right. Well, we'll say 3 just because it sounds funnier. And he's going to come up to us and be like, it's fucking 2. I was like, all right, mate, sorry.
Oh, shit,
sorry.
Yeah. I said it was 2. I said it was 2.
Yeah, and I'll be like, oh, God, I'm sorry, mate. We knew
it was him. It was him that said it.
Yeah, if we do the podcast next week and I've got a black eye and we're like, right, disclaimer, guys, it's with 2 green bands. Reece has been beaten up for chatting shit about a guy at Premier. Oh, no. No, we do not want that. Right. I'm going on to the questions from today, mate, because I had a look through and the others were a bit wank from last week. I think I had like 1 or 2. So, right, first question. I'm answering because he asked 2 questions. Or he asked 2 questions. One was actual question. He sent a second one saying thanks in advance. And I'll actually say thanks to you, Pete, for telling me about the that elite gym that it was in Manchester, because it was actually a really good gym. He was the one who recommended me to go there. There was a few people that said to go there, but he was the first one.
Jack Buff training there today.
Oh, sound, yeah, it was a good gym, that's for sure. I'd train there again, that's for definite. So he's asked, any tips on managing uni and training, etc., looking to compete at the same time as my masters is due? And my initial impression is like, best of luck, because that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but it definitely can be done. Like I said, I asked Sanaya earlier, like when I read this question out, and Sanaya's first one was don't do it, and I said, well, no, I would have been able to finish like my degree if I wasn't coaching, but I would have struggled massively if I was to have the same. Do you remember when I was like finishing my degree, when I was doing my DIS and coaching and stuff? If I was at the back end of a prep, I would have been mentally like on absolutely, I would have just had no energy. But so I would have struggled, but I could still be done. I'd just say time optimization and routine would be key. But I'd almost question as well, is there a reason why you want to be competing? Like you could always, the stage is always going to be there, bro. Like just wait till next year. You know, that's what I'd almost be kind of inclined to be thinking when everything's in line in a really good spot. But if this is your last year as a junior, you're thinking, you know what, I want to compete. I mean, you're going to have to give it a crack, but it will be a bit of a challenge, I'd imagine, with a Masters, like getting everything ticked off. But I think it definitely can be done. It definitely could be done. It's a lot, you know.
I don't know, can you be doing your Masters still as a junior? Because
maybe not.
Maybe it can be.
Could.
If you'd be like 18, 19, you could.
Yeah, because I would have done my Masters this year, and I would still be a junior next year if it was a year course. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so in that circumstance, then that's the only one I'd say. Yes, you could. I wouldn't say definitely compete, but it makes sense to compete if it's your last chance to as a junior. But yeah, like exactly what you said and what we were saying earlier about sleep. Like you've really got to nail everything. Like, you know, we've both been through periods of time where we're busier, and obviously you have times where you're a bit quieter, and those times when you're busy, if you're not on it, like it's so easy to just feel like you're falling behind and feel stressed out. And, you know, I say to my clients quite a lot, like literally plan out your days by almost like, first of all, do every hour across an entire week. And then you need to be even more detailed than that. Do every half an hour, do every 15 minutes. Yeah, I can guarantee that you're probably still spending more time on your phone than you are, like, probably not more time than doing work, but probably more time on your phone than you would be prepping meals. And these are people who are saying, oh, I don't have enough time to prep meals. It's like, well, how long are you scrolling on TikTok and Instagram? Like, probably longer than you would be prepping a meal. The amount of times that, you know, I will not go on Instagram for however many hours, and I feel myself going to go on it because I'm so used to it. I'm like, no, I need to get on with this. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. And like, you know, it's easy done to just find yourself 20 minutes down the line. You're like, oh shit, I've not done that because I've been doing nothing, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I'm not going to say people who say, oh, I'm too busy, very rarely are, because there are some people out there who are insanely busy. But I would argue, this sounds like I'm being a dickhead, but like this, obviously this isn't this guy, but if you're that busy, you wouldn't even have time to ask us questions. You wouldn't have time to watch the podcast. You know what I mean? And that, if you're that busy to that extent, and I've been that busy in the past where I've not even had time to do anything like that, like anything outside of just work. Like when I was working like 3 jobs and at uni, I had and training, and my only free time was eating. And even then, I was usually watching something to do with uni or like. So we've been through times when it's like that. So you have to be like really, really on it to the point where your day is planned out almost to the minute. Like otherwise, it's fucked. You can't manage it.
No, I agree. I definitely like when I was doing my dis at the end of like my semester of like this year. So like the month prior to prep, I've said this to clients before, and like if I was to have a look at like I fill out my own sheets, my sleep would have been like I was getting up at like 5:45. I was going to bed at like midnight. I probably didn't get 6 hours plus sleep. I probably was getting like between 4.5 and like 6 hours sleep for like 4 to 6 weeks. And I remember thinking like, well, this isn't optimal. This is definitely not optimal. So a month prior to a prep starting, is that going to be optimal for bodybuilding? No, but I legitimately would have struggled. I knew I wouldn't have been able to get everything done because I was coaching full time. I was literally doing my usual coaching work. And then the reason why I was getting up like an hour, 2 hours earlier was because I was getting uni work done before check-ins came in. And it would be literally to the point where on rest days, I'd only say the only time I'd be away from my laptop was when I was making my food downstairs or coming up with my food. And I'd like go to my mum's office at like 6:37 to then do an extra 3 hours worth of work because it was just a different spot to do work in. So it was like, I enjoyed the drive. I remember I used to literally, it was like a 5-minute drive. And that 5-minute drive was like the highlight of the day. Because I'd be like, right, I get to listen to some music, I get to chill out, and then I'd be there and I'd be like, right, work mode again. Like that's literally what it would be like. So yeah, we've all been in those situations. I feel like if you're truly flat out and it is just optimization, and at times you won't be optimal, and that's going to be like you've got to optimize your time, but you might not be optimal in other areas, which in a prep it is going to be a challenge to fit that in. But I know that I would have been able to prep, and like I said, I would have been able to prep and do it and finish a degree, but I would have struggled to coach. And it would be the same as like, imagine if I was to say to my clients the week before my first show, a week before, like during the show season, no check-ins, guys. Like it's just not attainable. Like you have to get everything still in, you know.
Your battles and have the right priorities, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, best of luck, mate, like genuinely, and hopefully the comp season goes well. I'm guessing so you'll probably be starting if it's like September time that you'd be competing, most likely 4 to 5 months of grow and peat. So yeah, best of luck with that, mate. But it'll be interesting to see how things go, because it will be a battle and you've got to almost embrace it and think, if I'm on it, definitely can be done, but again, it's going to be hard. So best of luck. Right, your go, mate. We're on to the questions from today.
No, I've still got a few. This is from Finlay last week.
Finlay?
Your boy,
hey,
Finlay.
He mentioned the name pronunciation, saying, what is it with the British guys not being able to pronounce my name? That's what he said.
Wow, where's he from?
I'm guessing, like, I'm more think he's Scottish, I think. So I'm guessing, like, it's Finlay. Like Finlay, you know? Yeah, Finlay. Wasn't there a Scottish
Finlay Roberts?
Did you ever watch WWE? Did you ever watch WWE? There was a wrestler called Finlay or whatever. And I think he was Irish, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it was spelt the same. So it's because Finlay isn't spelt like that over here, mate. So it's like the same as Reece, like the Welsh spelling of Reece, like R-H-Y-S. Like, what the fuck's that about, bro?
Rice.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Reece. Like, it's Reece, bro.
Anyway, he said, training to technical failure versus assisted/forced reps.
Finlay wouldn't know. Single arm pull down. He hasn't took to failure since he started. Got to get that one in there. No, Finlay trains well. Finlay does train well. Or Finlay trains really well. Finlay trains all right. But no. So this is something that when we first started training, how mashed were we after the first rotation? We were absolutely battered. We trained together. I remember it was like a Thursday. And you were like, what are you doing tomorrow, training-wise? Because we were speaking about training. And then I was like, I'm doing arms. And you're like, all right, do you want to pull on Saturday? And we'll just start training together. And we were like, yeah, sound. And then we started training together. And it was that first session. I think we might have had 5 assisted reps on absolutely everything. And within the first training rotation, we were like, I'm not even joking, fatigue would have been higher than it's ever been. And we didn't even realize. We were just like, oh, great week's training, bro. See you Monday. So it was like, so I think there's definitely a purpose in place of taking assisted reps, but it has to be when recovery capabilities are in a good spot. Everything is in like an overall outside of just the training window, on the money. It has to make sense and be conclusive towards your goals in that moment. So for example, in a comp prep or when recovery capabilities are impaired, taking an assisted rep probably isn't going to be smart. And at the same time, I would definitely not be taking any more than one. I would almost, my thought process on assisted reps is take one if it's a 50-50 rep and you're going for it with the idea of thinking, I could get this, and then you get a slight assist. But I've kind of gone, in my opinion, at least right now, I don't think going for a rep that you know isn't there is actually that smart. It just probably is going to hold you back. And like, I would only do it if, let's say, as mentioned, you feel really fresh, and movements might be stalling, and you think, you know what, I'm just going to take this as kind of a progression, like a novel kind of progression in the session. But I think it will just most likely do you more harm than good. So I would just say momentary muscular failure. Go until you literally can't perform another rep.
I think it depends on the exercise as well, doesn't it? Like, you wouldn't want to be taking a ton of force reps on something like a hack squat, but you could maybe get away with taking, you know, 1 or 2 on a leg extension or something like that. So maybe the less demand in the movement, I'd say the more warrant there is, and the better the sort of stimulus to fatigue ratio would be. But I also think if you can trust a good spotter that can almost just get you that extra maybe 1 or 2 reps through, let's say, imagine you're doing a pendulum and the mid-range is really tough, but the beginning and end range is generally pretty easy. Let's say a spotter just gives you a couple of reps through that mid-range because you've still got more in the tank in the lengthened and the shortened, then that's maybe not going to be, it's not going to be too detrimental. But let's say you're at complete failure through a full range on like a hack, and then you take 3 more, like, yeah, you're just wasting time, wasting energy. You're going to be absolutely trashed. So yeah, pick and choose again, like we just said before, pick and choose when you would actually benefit from it. But if you don't really know, then just never take them. If you're not sure, then just don't take them. Just train to what feels like failure, which for most people isn't failure, but train to what feels like failure for you. I would generally say, especially for people learning to train to that level, just go until you can't move the weight. Like I say that to my clients all the time who haven't learned to train hard yet. Just go until you can't move the weight. Try and switch off mentally from the pain. Go until you can't move the weight. And once you learn to get to that point, then you can start worrying about assisted reps or anything else on top of
that. Yeah, good answer. Okay, does using barbells create a dense, doing the, what are these for the audio listeners? Quotation, dense, because he actually put that in the question. Dense physique, because I see that word all the time and it is a bit confusing sometimes. From Toby Warner. So my client Toby.
So
basically, I don't have him doing barbell work, and his physique's just really hollow. And he's like, "Fuck, I've just not got the density." Reece, give me some barbell movements. I need that density.
It's a weird one because it's like correlation versus causation. So you've got a question: do people who have denser muscle have it because they're stronger at barbell pressing, or are they, or do they have stronger barbell pressing just because they're bigger anyway? They have more muscle. So it's hard. Like, you have to question: is it correlation or is it causation? So I would say generally, if you're stronger, if you are training with good form, and if you are stronger, like if you get stronger over time, the stronger that person is, often the denser the muscle is going to be. Obviously, there's outliers. Everybody has genetic outliers. There's loads of outliers in bodybuilding, but generally, the stronger you are on any kind of movement pattern, likelihood is the bigger you're going to be, and potentially the denser you're going to be. Again, even density comes down to genetic sort of values as well. So there's so much that goes into it, but I would say it's not always causation. It's not a case of like, right, just because you're doing barbell pressing, you're way denser. It's usually that those people who are maybe strong at barbell pressing have probably trained for years and years and years doing the basics and built up a hell of a lot of strength on those movement patterns. They could have done that on a let's say a Nautilus explode vertical press for years and years and years, and got stronger and stronger and stronger at it, and they probably still have a lot of dense muscle. But the reason that they might look like it in terms of the fact that they're doing the barbell press is because they've done it for years, and it's all that they know. So if you've learned it since you were 12 and you're really good at it and you're big, why would you change it? So it's difficult because there's no answer to that. Like, it's a difficult one, but yeah, I mean, the way I see it is bodybuilding is basically just moving our bodies through different patterns against load. So does it matter if it's a barbell or a dumbbell or a machine, like, or a cable? Like, you really
the only difference is stability and stabilizer muscles in general. For, if you think about it, it's just against a force. Like, it's a force against some resistance.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So like, you don't need to almost overcomplicate. It's the reason why, like, when you start training, you hear about a new exercise and you're like, oh my God, that sounds really good. And you could tell me any new exercise and I'd just look at it and go, yeah, it looks all right. Like, give it a go. Yeah, it feels decent. Like, that's literally what it is. There's not really anything magic like regarding an exercise that's going to correlate to a ridiculous amount of stimulus that you just grow another lat on top of your lat previously or something like that. Like it's one of those.
Because it's a traditional movement, if you like, and it's what we've always done. If you look back years and years and years ago, like it's what has always been done as bench press. Like if you want a big chest, bench press. Like it's only in recent times that we're getting away from that thought process. So people who either, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm not saying that if you do want a big chest and you get stronger at flat bench, you're probably going to have a bigger chest over time. We're definitely going to.
Yeah, look at me. I flat bench 180 kilos for 2.
Yeah,
my chest is mint.
But it's more so questioning our thought process and not just going, well, that's what we do. Because we can do that about everything and would never progress things, like either being technology or whatever it is. You don't just want to go.
Dorian Yates to the barbell row and he's got a bigger back than you. Why would I listen to Think Heavy Coach and Dorian Yates?
Get Dorian on the podcast.
Yeah, drop him a message, mate. He'll reply to me in a minute or two. We're probably one of his, he was probably one of our number 1 listeners when it comes to Spotify. That's
he was, sure. Yeah, he messaged me.
Hope so. We stuck factors in the story. That's what it was.
So yeah, that's actually a good question. I think it evokes quite good debate because in my opinion, there isn't a real answer to that. Like, how do we know? You can't really get data on that unless you were to say to someone, right, for the next 10 years, you're only going to barbell press. And for this guy, who's his twin, for the next 10 years, you're only going to, let's say, machine chest press from the end of it. But then you can still go, well, he might have slightly better genetics, even though they're twins. Like, it's impossible.
Or he could have took 10 grams of creatine per day and he only took 5 grams.
Yeah. Imagine how hard that is to make everything the exact same. Like, it is difficult. But then you could also say, well, the proof's in the data, the proof's in the pudding. You could say that there's a lot of people who do have a strong flat bench, who do have dense muscle, or who do bench press, squat, deadlift, and let's say they're just their main movements. They obviously have a lot of muscle.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I've got I say a question. I'm not stealing the next question, mate. But did you get asked any questions? I got asked probably 5 questions regarding the same as what we got asked last week about what did you both do to set out your coaching business? What made you want to pursue bodybuilding and coaching?
The last one says how to become an online coach.
Yeah, and I was almost a bit I'm not too sure, guys, but we answered a lot of that before.
If we have answered it, from now on we'll just be yeah, we've answered that.
Yeah. Episode 25.
People will have to just look back.
Yeah, go watch that. Go listen to that. That's what it is.
My question.
Yeah, your question.
This is from Will Bertolini. Favorite and least favorite exercise in your current split?
Oh, okay. Favorite hip hinge, stiff leg deadlift. That's the one progressing well. I like pulling from the floor. It's enjoyable. We do it together. It's a good session. Evo's the place to be. It's just the place to be. So I'd say stiff leg deadlift currently favorite. What's your favorite, mate? I'll think of my least favorite.
Yeah, probably deadlift. I do like the dumbbell bent over row as well.
I just like that session, to be fair, mate.
Yeah, I like that. Enjoyable. To be fair, it's quite difficult because I like a lot of movements. I'm enjoying the dumbbell RDL.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot. But if I had to pick one right now, I'd probably say the dumbbell RDL, to be honest.
Fair enough. Yeah. What's your least favourite, mate? One that comes around and you're like, oh, I just don't even want to do it.
Just want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any that I don't enjoy. I think a lot of movements I don't enjoy or I don't like or dislike. I just do them because I know that get them done. But if I'd say the one that I really don't like, there isn't one.
Do you want me to say mine? Because I know exactly which one. The leg extension at Future, because they're absolutely dire. I used the prime leg extension the other day and I got off and it was when you just do an exercise and you're like, yes, that's good. I literally, there's 2 leg extensions at Future. There's a plate loaded one that is almost the seat is kind of inclined so aggressively that it's you can't have your hips down and get your quad short because it just doesn't make sense. It will snap your knee in half. So it's awful. I banded that. shocking. And then there's like a single leg hammer strength, like pin loaded one. And again, it just makes no, like the profile is pretty meh. I banded it. I've not banded it. You can only do like, the only thing that feels good on it is like a 15 repper with like a 3-second count and contraction and like super slow eccentrics. And it's, the stack isn't heavy enough. So I'll end up doing like the stack for like a set of 15. It just feels like just really poor. So yeah, the leg extension's the worst exercise for me currently, but that's not due to the exercise. I love a good leg extension. It's well challenging. Like it's one of the most challenging, like kind of those single joint movements in a sense. It's something you can get switch on, actually get after, which you can't really for a lot of other movements like that. But that's only due to the kit being wank. So yeah, the leg extension in the future.
That's made me think about the hamstring curl, standing ham. I mean, it's not bad, but
warehouse one.
Yeah, it just needs a seated ham, a good one.
Yeah.
It's the only thing really. That session was really good.
It had a seated ham. And they got rid of the best seated ham, and they got rid of it.
No, Harry that trains with Carlton.
Yeah.
He was saying to me yesterday that the owner of Warehouse got that Life Fitness ham for 200 quid.
Shocking. So he just valued it at 200.
Got rid of it for the Watson one just because it was 400 quid, he said.
Oh, no. That's bad, that.
The Watson one you can't even use. Like, it's literally not possible to get your hamstring short because the pad, the seat is so thick that your calves just hit it.
Like, your calves.
My calves are horrendous. So it is the machine. It's not as if I've got massive calves. You can't get your hamstring short. I don't know how anybody uses it. Like, and then it doesn't make any sense. Mate, that's not even the issue, though. That's annoying, but it's not even the issue. The issue is, like, you cannot get your hamstring short. It's like doing a leg extension that only comes up to like 3/4 of the way up. You'd be like, well, what's the point? I can't do what I'm required to do. Or a hack squat that you can't lock out on. You can't get
you can't get full range. Yeah, you can't go halfway.
Yeah, it's shit. Right.
Yeah.
Next one.
Your question? My question.
Your question.
Okay. Gulliver, I'm going to be honest, mate. The way you've worded this question is pretty. It's awful. You've done it. You've done it. Comma. You've won the Olympia in your respective categories. What's the next move? That is like that. You've done it. It's that you've done it. Like, you know what? Can we both, Finn? Let's both close our eyes. Let's imagine, and I'll do the. And the winner, and I'll be like, and the new Mr. Olympia. It's like Big Kelly, and then you've got to walk out.
I don't think that's so.
Finn,
simple as that.
You've done it. You've done it. You've won the Mr. Olympia. You've not even won a show, but you've won Mr. Olympia. All right. What's your next move?
Win it.
Are you flogging car fresheners the following day on Instagram and just selling out?
To be fair, if I won the natural Olympia, don't think anyone would know anyway. So it wouldn't really be a massive deal. I mean, if I won Mr. Olympia, the real one, if you like, then yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But still, I think the goal would just be like, right, I want to win it again next year. I don't think I'd be like, oh, I've done it. I've completed bodybuilding.
I think I'd wake up the following day and I'd be like, well, if I don't win it next year, I'm worse. Like, that's what I'd be thinking.
I think it'd spur you on even more, wouldn't it? Although, if you came second really closely, you'd be like, fuck. Like, it's that saying, isn't it? What is it? Like, the wolf climbing the hill is hungrier than the one at the top. But I still think if you win the Olympia, you're fucking hungry to win it again, especially with, like, not just the money that comes with it, but the sort of title behind it. The title behind it, like, you are Mr. Olympia. It's like, fucking, it's mental. But yeah, I mean, the natural Mr. Olympia, it was only the other day, wasn't it? I don't even know who won.
Such a natural bodybuilder.
It's not like there's a 212 and a men's open. There's like a lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, super lightweight. I think anyway. I can't remember whether they do height or weight classes. I think they do. No, they do height classes. Yeah, they do. I'm pretty sure they do height classes. And the new small Mr. Olympia, it's just not the same.
Small natural
Mr. Olympia is. It's like, it's not got the same ring to it. And you get £1,000 and a Harley Davidson or something.
Harley Davidson,
yes. Yeah. To be fair, like I'm joking, by the way, with all this. Like, people think I'm proper slating it. Like, I am having a laugh with it. Obviously, the reason that it's just not on the same level is because there's not as much money behind it. It doesn't get as much sort of coverage, does it?
Yeah, no, exactly.
But
it's the same as the skill gap between like female and male football in relation to viewership. Like they don't get paid the same because there's not the same monetization in the sport, which is unfortunate because they're very hard, dedicated athletes. It would be the same natural compared to, you know.
Yeah, it is. But that's the world. The world is run by money. Like things revolve around money. Like that is simple. But yeah, as an actual answer, I think I would be like, right, I want to win it again next year, because it's not as if you've just completed bodybuilding and you have to retire.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
No, I agree.
This is from Geo Ashley 1. How important?
Yes, me question as well. Best impersonation / accent. We can do this.
It's my fucking
sorry.
job.
Yeah, I want to hear your American accent, mate.
No, how important? I did my Scottish one earlier. How important are sports massages / physio? Been lifting 4 years and never had one.
All right, Aaron on his spare fake account. That's what it is. Aaron just logged in on his spare account.
On every question, surely sports physio must be really, really good and important. Yeah. Tell us all about it.
Reece, you haven't mentioned an injury in so long, other than this one podcast. Why is that? I'm like, cheers, Aaron. I think it's definitely a thing that's undervalued, underrated. I always think like it's better to be proactive, not reactive. Bit of a cliche saying, and I might have got that the wrong way around. I don't think.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
Yeah, and it's always better to kind of stay on top of things. So like, even though my knee is battered now, this is the first kind of niggle that I've had literally in the last 16 weeks, 20 weeks, and that's most likely been a testament to I've been going in and I've been saying to Aaron like, oh, this feels just a little bit funny, and then he just does some work, does some like nothing too intense, but kind of just keeps things on top. And then if I need some like a second opinion, I can always go to him and say, right, mate, this is the problem, what do you reckon? And he can advise me if needed. So I think it's one of those where a lot of people always will kind of pick up an injury and then they look towards physio, and it's like, well, you actually probably have the signs of this injury creeping in, because at the end of the day, like unless something goes pop in a gym session, and if we're being honest, if we're lifting with like the same kind of form, nothing ever really should go pop. The only injuries we ever seem to really pick up during like resistance training, obviously to a certain degree, if things don't go pop, is usually just kind of overuse, repetitive, kind of the same like movement patterns over and over. So usually you can feel these kind of accumulate over a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then eventually you're like, right, I'm injured. And unfortunately, as I said, if you can stay on top of that and you've got someone that you go to on a weekly or like bi-weekly or let's say if you go to on a consistent basis, you can get it sorted. But the problem is people kind of think, oh, no, it's not worth it in the moment. I'm only going to go when needed. And then they pick up an injury and they ask like their coach, or they'll go on Google, or they'll change their training, when in reality it's like, well, just go to a physio. They're going to know better than you. They're going to actually advise you. So I always recommend it. Whenever a client messages me with an injury, I always will give my opinion, but I will say, go get yourself booked in at physio, and a good one at least. You know, that's all. First thing I say, like I'll give my opinion, and then I say, go to a physio. They're going to know more, and go from there.
Yeah, good answer, mate.
Yeah.
Right,
Aaron, that's what it is. Aaron's like, yeah, get in.
Let's do 2 more, because I don't want it to be much more than an hour.
Yep. No, I think we're about an hour now, so we'll wrap it up with a few more. So. Geo Ashley, best impersonation or accent. You got one, mate? You can't see your Scottish one from earlier. I'm awful. I'm going to say I can't.
I am not actually good at them. Am I good at any? No. I mean, I told you the other day about that American thing, didn't I? But I don't think
you blocked up, dude.
I don't think it was good. It was just me being American. I wish I was good at accents, to be fair. I wish if someone said like Irish, bang, Welsh, bang, I wish I could do them all, but I have to really think about it and try and listen to someone who's doing it and then repeat it. So I'm not very good.
No. Yeah, that's it. We're not really we're not very
disappointing answer.
Yeah. Sorry, Geo Ashley or Aaron on another account. That's what it is. Our physio. That's what it is. Yeah, we'll link that somehow. Best impersonation accent. By the way, who's your physio?
Who's your favourite physio?
Who's your favourite physio that you go to? Oh, the only one I go to. Right, your question, mate.
So this is from Mackenzie, still from last week. This is the last one from last week.
Oh, sorry. Is that Max Swagger Fitness?
It is Max Swagger Fitness, yeah.
Max Swagger Fitness. What a girl.
Hope you're both doing well. Do you guys have a particular ritual / routine when preparing for a PR / top set, or do you just go for it?
I just don't even think about it. I just say to Finn, just whack the load on, and I'll just go for it.
So just go for it today. Yeah, man, just go for it.
Yeah, go for it today. What weight? I don't know. Just put some on the bar, and I'll just do it. That's what it is.
I wish it was that easy. Imagine if it was that easy to just keep progressing. That'd be amazing.
That'd be lovely. Well, to be fair, we touched on this before, but
Yeah,
me and Finn have always said, and we'll keep it short. But like the vast majority of people will see us train. Like when Sanaya sees me do like a hack squat set, or like when we did stiff legs, she was like said that I scared her because I like got that switched on, and I get to a point where like I have goosebumps all over my body, like I have my hairs like stand up, I can feel my pulse everywhere. I have to get myself so switched on. And if I was to go into a set and you were to say, right, you can do as many warm-ups as you want, but you can't listen to like the music that you want, you can't get yourself switched on, I can guarantee that my lifts are going to be 20, 30 kilos down from pretty much everything that I do. So when like, I don't think, like we've said before, we're not that strong in the grand scheme of things. And in reality, we're not even that strong if you compare us to other people. We're not that strong. But mentally, I know that me and Finn are very, very like strong, and that was like something that you can't like. I know that we wouldn't like. We're not going to go into a set and not be switched on. So the preset kind of ritual is going to be very dependent on your own kind of things to get yourself like in a heightened state of arousal, knowing how aroused you can get, how switched on you can get, and it's going to be very independent towards you. I listen to very weird things that kind of bring back kind of thoughts of when I was like 10, 11, 12, nothing positive or negative, just things that kind of get an emotional response for whatever reason. It might be a song, it might be a specific kind of clip out of a film or a TV show that kind of gives me a bit of like some goosebumps that I can kind of just go with and kind of keep going off that. There's loads of things that I can kind of like go off just to spike any emotional response, and then I can kind of just build upon that, and it's where I can go into a set and I can be like fully switched on to the point where I have no idea. If you could have someone stood right next to me shouting in my face and I wouldn't even realize I'm that zoned in on the set, and it batters you, it batters me. Like it's not something I could do for every single set, but for like stiff leg deadlifts, leg press, hack squat, etc. Hack squat not as much because I usually break down, so it'd be something that I wouldn't actually be able to go fully switched on it, but it's very dependent on what I can do. So for a stiff leg deadlift, I know that I can just go in and be so switched on that it's like almost where like it's quite scary. Like I'm not me. It's like I have to take myself out of where I'm actually at. But yeah, it depends on the situation, depends on the set, depends on what needs to be done. There's not a set song that I listen to. It's very dependent on a lot of things, and that's personally down to what switches me on. And it'd be the same for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think it takes time to develop that as well. I think a lot of people are a bit worried about, how they may come across in the gym, and, that's fine. It takes time to feel like you can get psyched up. And also it depends on the gym that you're in. If you're training in a leisure centre with 65-year-old Doris next to you, you're probably not going to be screaming at the bar saying fucking let's go. But you also might not need that. Like, some people don't need that, some people might need that. Like Reece said, obviously using things that evoke some form of emotion. I think using songs that, let's say, have like a drop that you can start the set on the drop, if you like, on like a, let's say on a, like we used to use Prisoner, didn't we, as our favourite song, because it had a point where we knew we were going to start the set. And if it's almost like you've got no choice. So this is when you start the set, when the song drops there, you've got no choice. You attack the set and you get out of it as much as you can. You don't be beaten by last time.
Don't think.
Yeah, and if you have that approach, you very rarely will be beaten. And when you do, it's often that you're probably trashed. You're either getting injured or you're over fatigued. Like whenever we don't progress a set, usually it's because of, right, the form's slipped and we needed to reset it or something like that. But if everything's going relatively well, we might not always progress. We're not going to progress it by reps and load every week. We might go heavier and lose a rep, and that's normal. But generally, we'll still see that as a progression because we've gone heavier. So, like, if there's ever a week where we, like, imagine if we just lost 2 reps on the same load, we'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Usually that's because you've either mentally not taken it to the level that you did last time, or fatigue's creeping up. And that happens a lot. I have it with clients, they'll check in and be like, I've just not really trained as well this week. I don't know why. I've not really wanted to train as hard. I've struggled to switch on as much. Numbers haven't been as good, but sleep's good, food's good, stress is low, so on. Then it's like, well, it's obviously training fatigue. So you can sort of address it as that. But yeah, there's loads of different ways you can switch on, and it is very individualistic. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get to that point where you can really find it.
it was weird with me because I was always like, I always managed to be able to find it quite well. Like I said to you before, and I've said it on the podcast, like I was always the weird kid when we used to deadlift and 1 rep max at like 15, 16, where I'd be like pacing around the gym, or I'd like be like having my head against a wall, and I'd like be like punching a wall before a set, and I'd be like, right, so focused. Everyone else would be like just going in, laughing before a set, and then pulling it from the floor. And I remember like I was listening to like Eminem Till I Collapse when I remember I think I was like 16 and I deadlifted like 180 for the first time. It was to that song, and it was where like my preset ritual was everything, and it was like if anybody came near me, I'd be like, leave me alone, just get away from me, let me get in my own zone. So yeah, it's very individual. Like a lot of people kind of will get frustrated that they won't be able to find it every single time, and it's a skill. And like I almost kind of have it as a bit of an insult towards myself if I can't find it, because I'm like, well, why can't you find it? It's almost like not having a pre-workout meal. Yeah, like if I was to go into the gym and I was to not have my pre-workout meal, I wasn't to drink water. We've joked before, like, oh mate, I haven't had my pre-workout meal today. I haven't drank any water. I didn't sleep last night. What the fuck? Like we joke about stuff like that. But like not finding it is the same kind of thing where like if I was to go into a set and I know before I'm overthinking, I'm not switched on, I would be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're literally going to this session's going to be ruined because not of an external factor, because your head is not there. So it's almost like that would, to me, would be like, okay, that's the non-negotiable. That's not happening.
That makes me switch on when I feel that. When I feel like if you're not careful, you're gonna fuck this. Like I'm like, right, come on, get yourself sorted.
Yeah, exactly.
I know I'm not gonna. I won't even pick it up, or I won't even unrack it. Like on a hack squat, if I'm not switched on, it won't. Like the true squat, it wouldn't have even unracked.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like a few weeks ago, if I wasn't properly in the right place. So I think that's a good point to finish on. Because I want to go now. Can I go, please?
Sure thing, mate. Can you put your hand up and say, sir? Can I
do need a wee. I do need a wee.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. Well,
I'm enjoying trying to keep them to an hour because I think sometimes it just like
it got a bit excessive. So yeah, that's it, guys. Finn needs to go to the toilet. I could have been here all night. You know, I've got nothing else to do. Finn's got Shannon. I've not got anyone next to me. I'm just gonna. I've got my mum. I've got to go to bed with my mum. That's what it is. Fucking hell. That's the worst thing I've ever said on the podcast. And I did a whole prep during this and didn't say anything that bad when I was mentally ruined. So yeah, new one for me, guys. I had to pep on my mum, clearly. Other than that, thanks to all our fantastic listeners. Thanks to all the story tags. Thanks to all the questions. I'm guessing we've got a fair few to get through, which we'll get through next week, but we'll put the question box up as usual, and we'll kind of just work backwards if needed, if we ever have a bad week. And to be fair, we've only got 2 more episodes till it's going to be Christmas, so we can do a festive once you're in, you're in. And we can only
Christmas hat, Christmas jumper.
No. What it'll be is like, yo, bro, what's the macros? How should I plot my macros around Christmas with the fam?
I bet we'll get a few of those questions.
Yeah, we will do. So that might be a podcast. So yeah, either way, guys, once you're in part 2, educational series coming soon. We'll get that sorted most likely in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll start that. But other than that, like I said, thanks for listening. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the story tags. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.